Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
In the shadow of Grenfell, plans by Kensington and Chelsea Council to lease the borough's oldest library to the private Notting Hill Prep School may now be in the balance. After an impassioned campaign by residents to keep the library open to all, the prep school has told this programme it will welcome a review of the decision to lease the library to them. And the council has tonight confirmed that after the Grenfell disaster, all regeneration plans are now on hold. So could the Victorian Library, built with public money, now stay in public hands? They've petitioned, protested, banged drums, blocked streets to save a space that has been part of their community for more than 125 years, North Kensington Library. In recent years, the council unveiled plans to lease this Victorian gem to a neighbouring private school, Notting Hill Prep, a decision that many in this community have simply refused to accept.
We're giving out leaflets because the problem is a lot of people don't actually know what's happening to the library. They don't know that the council has leased it to a private school. And when we tell people what has happened, they are outraged.
We're stood at a crossroads. This is the heart of our community here in North Kensington. We've got the library, we've got your pub, which we also fought to save as a community asset. We've got the flower shop on the corner, a lovely local business, again, that are fighting to stay in the community. The library, therefore, that hub of cultural enlightenment and inspiration, free for all, regardless of what language you speak, regardless of where you come from, enabling us all to integrate, enabling us all to get a step up, for helping social mobility, a place of quiet. And they're trying to change it for a new building just down the road, but which clearly is not going to be able to serve as well as this beautiful old building, which was bequeathed to us, this community, and for future generations of this community, by the community, for the community. So what rights do our elected officials have to pass on the long-term lease to the prep school without our support?
What sort of amplified all this and has got people really angry was Grenfell, which is just down the road. So, you know, we're here standing for the community. People are getting more active, people are getting more involved like never ever before.
I'm a mother and I like to bring my children to the library. It's like my temple for knowledge, and I think that should be kept going. And this is about people before money.
Now, Channel 4 News can reveal that the Notting Hill Prep School would welcome a review of the council's decision to lease the library to them. In a statement, the headmistress said,
"We are committed to being a good local citizen, and we continue with that ambition even more fervently now that our local community is in such great need. The lease was offered to us by RBKC, which we understood to be part of their objective to get more private sector money into the local community to spend directly on the borough. We would welcome a review of the current agreement by the new RBKC Cabinet, and we will happily abide by any decisions made by that body, which we hope and believe will be in the best interests of everyone living in the borough."
According to council plans, a new building nearby will soon house the library as well as a youth club and sports area. Much of the rest of the building will be privately leased, but campaigners say they don't need a new library, and they reject the council's claim that it must be moved to improve access for disabled visitors.
There is a ramp access and then lift to all floors. It's completely adequate. It's especially adequate when you think about the user profile of the library, which means that basically people who are mobility impaired aren't arriving in large groups to all access a single room at once, but they arrive one at a time and can easily be attended to. All of these arguments by the council, including disability access, including the suitability of the building, including how easy it is to maintain the building or how expensive it will be because of the Grade 2 listing. These arguments are made with such bad faith.
A few blocks away, local activist Niles Hailstones voices a concern that many here share of creeping gentrification.
The library, the adult learning centre, KCC, local youth centres, all of these things are vital resources that are pivotal to the community actually having any sense of development or continuity or access to resources. And closing them down is just an example of that same culture, of the gentrification of the area and the regeneration, because all of this is put forward as something that's going to be beneficial to us.
It's a fear often expressed. This map, made by local activists, charts the public amenities already sold or under threat. Tonight, the council has confirmed that at the 11th hour, the library project is on hold. In a statement, they said, following the Grenfell Tower fire and the subsequent selection of a new council leader and cabinet, we are looking again at projects across the borough to take stock and listen to local communities. Well, we're joined now from Chepstow in Monmouthshire by Cerys Matthews, who you saw in my report, and here in the studio by local historian and campaigner Chris Bushell. Cerys Matthews, this is quite a change in the language coming out of the town hall, but does it also reflect in some way that perhaps the wider community is beginning to recognise that Grenfell Tower is a lot more about what has to change in the borough than they knew?
But what we've experienced over the last few years is this disconnect between the people that we have elected in order to serve us and what we're actually saying. So it's lovely to hear that the headmistress, and I'm sure she's a decent human being, is saying that she'll welcome a review, and I hope that goes ahead, because there were so very few consultations with the decision to move the library when the library belongs, as you said, to the community. It was raised from funds, and the numbers don't even add up. It would cost a lot less to just fix the library to keep it going than to move the library. And why not lease a new building to the schools? But it seems that the people in power would prefer to enhance the portfolio of these private businesses to the expense of the community. And here's the crux of the matter. This is a class issue. The people who are elected to serve us in North Kensington have no idea what a community is. There's such disconnect, there's such arrogance and entitlement. They fail to see us people, working class, middle class people, as their equal. And this allows them to make decisions which are not just incompetent, but they're also dangerous, as we've witnessed.
Right. Well, let me pause you there.
It's an abhorrent state of affairs.
Let me bring in Chris Bushell, because I'm wondering whether you see this as window dressing or actually a change of heart and perhaps just a smidgen of an understanding of what the crisis is about.
You referred to the announcement
library
this afternoon
from
the council. Well, I have to say, and this won't come as a surprise to you, that the community in North Kensington don't have a great deal of confidence in the present cabinet, and so we would hesitate to be too enthusiastic about this decision.
It's only on hold at the moment.
It's on hold,
this issue.
Yes. But I should say that although I'm a member of the Friends of North Kensington Library, this is not an isolated campaign, as Cerys has pointed out. There are a whole host of campaigns that have been going for a number of years now, all with the aim of challenging the council's what appears to be a systematic programme of transferring public assets into private hands, either through lease or sale. So you must see the library as part of a wider picture in North Kensington.
Well, I certainly see you agreeing with that, Cerys Matthews, but there is something that even I, as a member of the media, have felt, and that is the disconnect between us, the media, and the people of that area. And in a sense, as you live there, it's surprising perhaps that we haven't heard you contact us and tell us to get our shoes on and come over there and sort it out.
John, we are so grateful that yourself and Victoria Derbyshire have been on the ground level and seem to be listening and giving voice to people. But I just don't think it's just unique to North Kensington. I think we're seeing this kind of disconnect all over the country. We need to ask not just to look closely at how local governments work, whether there's compliance and conflict of interests, where you've got councillors that are property developers or councillors that are property finders, or certainly in cahoots with construction companies and property developers. And this is happening all over the country. We need to look very carefully at how local government is set up. We also need to look very carefully at how central government is working. There is a huge disconnect. They are there, we elect them as officials to serve, not to rule, to serve us, for the whole population, for the goodness of the population.
Okay, well, I just want to ask you as a local, sort of
a user of the library, I have to say, yes.
Of course.
Yes.
But are they making any attempt, for example, to speak to you? After all, you've been working at this for a very long time. Have you ever had any contact from them?
We've met at meetings, but there hasn't been direct
meetings,
contact.
They're rather confrontational. That's not really the sort of thing I meant. It's been an engagement. Sort of, look, folks, what do we do then?
Very, very limited engagement with either the council or the school itself. The school has really kept its distance. And I should say that, you know, we were able to be granted an asset of community value on this building, and if the council are really seriously concerned about changing their point of view, then they should honour the 2012 Localism Act and allow us an expression of interest, which will give the community an opportunity to get together and maybe take over that building. But they're refusing to do that at the moment.
That gap next to you should have been occupied by Kensington and Chelsea.
Well, that doesn't surprise me at all. Really,
managed to find anyone who could speak to us.
This is a hallmark of the council.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. And Chris Bushell, thank you very much.
You're more than welcome.
Kathy.